Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Eversio Experience podcast, co-hosted by Brandy Garden, the co-founder of Eversio Wellness, and myself, Dr. Desiree Caruso, licensed naturopathic physician. Today, I'm so excited because we're going to do something totally different. We are doing a compilation episode of the best moments of some of our guests, and I can't wait for you to listen. And we're going to start off with no one other than our co-founder, Craig Garden.
We're all built differently, and it's no surprise to you, Des, because you've been with us now for quite a period of time. We always try to work and talk in working in your zone of genius for reference, right? And I think the thing that we learned quite early on, before anyone else had kind of caught on to it within our organization at least, was that if you're lucky enough to find the people that enjoy doing what they're doing every day, then they see it as something that's easy to be done where others would struggle to do it. And that is, a boiled down version of working in your zone of genius. So if we could put together a team of individuals from all different walks in order to, help us with that mission, then I think, we got a chance of being successful, where the odds are kind of stacked against you in terms of starting a business from scratch that you really know nothing about and going, oh, well, I've done business and created business in other places. How hard could that be? We'll just do that all over again. And naively, we charge forward with that. And at the end of the day, I think the vibe of that is really what attracted our tribe. And I know Brandy says that a lot. So I think we're just super fortunate that we've had people like you join us and others on the team. And we've had people come that weren't the right fit and they just wanted to be a part of that. And it's hard to say no to that. But at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, you have to learn quickly. And that was some of the things that, others have struggled with in terms of, letting go of things when it's not, servicing the betterment of everyone on the team. Going back to Brandy's previous point, like we used to pick each other up off the bathroom floor for it was like years.
The first 2 years, I would say.
Yeah, it was brutal. I'd be crying, having a mental breakdown in the morning or in the afternoon, and she would pick me up and vice versa. And this went on, and I was like, how long can we do this? Like, is this even... And that's where you truly, you learn who a person is made of.
Yeah.
Like, we've been together over 25 years, and I mean, it was relentless, right, B? I mean...
Yeah, and when we talk about the hard things, people are going like, what was so hard? Because I think it doesn't look hard on the outside. It's just mushrooms.
What's there, right? You don't get to see what's really under the hood. And I think being vulnerable, and this is why I was kind of excited when you guys said, hey, let's do this. I'm not a big speaker like that. It's not my jam. But I think more people need to understand that, yes, it's hard, but everyone needs a partner. Don't try to do it on your own. It's just too much. Sure, there's a lot of successful people that have done it. And I'm, hats off to them. I'm not saying you can't, but if you knew what I knew, I would never do it. I would have a partner for sure, because, you need somebody to bounce things off of, and you need somebody to calm you when, you haven't slept for 3 days because you're just trying to make things work.
And we've learned so much about each other in those hardest times. Dr. Des, you will have my favorite saying, right? It's always right there beside the hard moments that are the biggest learnings about life for us. And that's been the gift of this business, is that we have learned so much about ourselves and each other in watching the breakdowns happen for us, and then being able to overcome it and feel so incredible that we overcame that. And the silliest things in the beginning, it was sales. You create this company, you invest all of your money and your time and your energy into something. And, our first day of sales, we didn't know anything about marketing or e-commerce or meta, we didn't know anything. So when people didn't come, you freak out. Like, are we going to be okay? Are we going to make enough sales of something that, I never thought of it as money. I just wanted people to have it. Honestly, I wanted to give it away. And I believe
she did. I can vouch for that, and still does, as you well know.
Yeah.
I mean, so
that was hard. I just want to give it to people. And when we didn't have big sales in those first weeks, months, I still wanted people to have it because I wanted them to feel what we had felt. I wanted them to experience what we had. And, Craig saying to me, we can't give it away because we won't feed our kids. That was really hard for us to get through we had to believe that the people would come if we kept putting the right energy behind us. And like I said, there were days that Craig had to say that to me, and there were days I had to say that to him. And the abundance for us came when we stopped worrying about the money and started caring more about the way people would feel when they experienced what we did. And when we brought in more people to help us, like you, Dr. Des and Dr. Shannon, bringing people in that have been through the same things we had in a bit of a different way.
Yeah, I think I mirror a lot of what Brandy's saying. I think success for me has... it's been different over the years. I think when people traditionally think of success, they think of monetary
dollar signs.
value.
Yeah.
And that is the reality of the world that we presently live in, that is what defines success. And I've worked with a lot of people who had a lot of money. I've worked for people who had a lot of money. And I don't think it made anyone happier, if I'm being truthful. I think it made aspects of their life easier, but I think it also contributed to having a lot of really hard interactions, with a lot more hard interactions daily that was taking away from them than filling them up. And so what I've kind of started to lean towards as of late is more what Brandy's saying, and that is, if you're fortunate enough to be doing something that you love every day, that is success. If you get up with purpose every day and you enjoy where you're going and you enjoy the people that you're doing it with, what more do you want? That is success. And if you're getting paid a fair value for that, that is success. And just not chasing something that just doesn't exist, because it doesn't. The things are just things at the end of the day. And really what matters, and I think the most special thing for me, is when I have a meaningful conversation with somebody over their health, over their mental health, over their being, or how they experience change. Those are still the things that probably light me up the most every single day. And reading the reviews, and those are the things that keep me going in business. In terms of relationship, that's a big one. Yeah, I think just the fact that B and I have been together for, how long has it been? Over 25 years, right? We just celebrated our 20th year anniversary. And that was a big milestone to me, because both my parents are not together and hadn't been since I was very young. So to me, I already feel like on some level I've done all right. And we're being good role models for our children. And, when our kids come to us and say, hey, independently, I love you and you're the best dad, or you're the best mom, or you're the best mom and dad, or friends and colleagues come and say, you know what, I really appreciate working here. I'm so thankful I got the opportunity. Those are the things that define success in business and in your day-to-day life. And I think we could all use to have a lot more of that.
So when I graduated from IHN, which was around 2008, I hit the ground running. I've always been a very ambitious, driven person. So, and I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't have I didn't have savings. I didn't have a family that was Joy, go do what you want. We will support you and pay your rent. I was on a mission because I needed to pay my rent in downtown Toronto. So I was I am going to make this work. I'm going to build this brand. I'm going to build this hub, Joyous Health, so that people can go to my website. They can make my recipes. They can heal their body. They can feel great. So yeah, the first few years I was working with clients one-on-one, helping them with their nutrition. And I was also doing a lot of corporate wellness, which I still do today, wellness talks, because I really enjoy doing speaking. But it's interesting to look over the years, the sort of journey that I've had with my business and being an entrepreneur. It was definitely not a straight line. There was highs, there was lows, there was riding the wave. That's one thing I've learned over the last 15 years in business is that you just have to like learn to ride the wave. Like, don't get swept up when everything is going amazing, because not to be negative, like it doesn't stay
The
up
shoreline
forever.
is coming. The shoreline is coming. The wave will crash.
Yeah, 100%. Because, it's the law of nature. What goes up must come down.
Yes.
So I've always had that in the back of my mind, and also knowing that when things do feel hard, being a small business owner, when things do feel hard, like again, to like ride those waves and know that it's not forever, and always coming back to like, why am I doing this? And my mission has really been the same since day one, is that I just really want to educate people and inspire people to live a more joyous, healthy, happy life, and realizing that it's a holistic approach. It's not just about what you eat. It's not just about how much you move your body. It's about your relationships and how much time you spend in nature. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's
preach, sister.
right? It's like all the things. So, a couple weeks ago, I did a talk where I went they do like alumni talks where I went to school, where I studied nutrition. And I really enjoy doing those kinds of talks, because you mentioned lots of nutritionists and entrepreneurs listen to your podcast. So, people look at me now, they're like, oh, you have 3 books and you have this and you have that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but this is like 16, 17 years. Like, don't put so much pressure on yourself to like do everything right from the get-go. Like, start slow and like build from there, and just some days just know that some days are not amazing. Some days are amazing. And you just keep moving forward. People with darker skin, though, as well, this is why it can be tricky for people to figure out what's going on, because people with darker skin they won't have redness. You can't see redness in someone with black skin, but people who have darker skin also experience rosacea. So just, there's different triggers, right? There's different signs. It's like the heat and just feeling the inflammation within the skin. So I think it can be more difficult. Like for me, it was glaringly obvious because I have such fair skin. So it was easy, you can see the broken blood vessels. But it's just worth mentioning that a lot of people have it, and they just don't even know. But for me, like one of the turning points, I mentioned the histamines, but the big turning point for me was when I started researching very heavily, going down that rabbit hole of skin health and this pH of the skin and what I'm using. So I was using organic natural products. I was for many years using a coconut-based cleanser with a very natural moisturizer. And so when I started researching this, I was like, oh, like maybe it has to do with my microbiome and how healthy my pH is. Like maybe because if your skin pH is higher, your skin becomes so much more reactive and sensitive. And that was a big thing for me. It wasn't just the rosacea. Like I felt that my skin was just so reactive and just sensitive to everything. So when I changed my skincare, that's when I started developing my own skincare. Like if I showed you before and afters of using Hello Joyous, after 4 weeks of only using Hello Joyous, I had a massive improvement in my skin. And specifically, it was like the angriness of my skin and then the texture of my skin improved. Now, I always say that with a caveat of like, it's not just about, I don't want anyone to think that my skincare is going to cure your rosacea, because it's not.
You have to do both.
It has to be a holistic approach. It's the inside and the outside. But I really want to educate people about the importance of caring for the outside, not over-exfoliating. Retinoids are so popular now. But I just think a lot of people are not really caring for their skin microbiome. I love talking about this story because I think, oftentimes when people see someone in the wellness community, they're like, oh, like you've always been healthy and had healthy glowing skin and you've got, all the all those boxes checked. And what I have to say is I had a lot of health issues in my late teens, early 20s. And I went from doctor to doctor, specialist to specialist, and we could just not figure out why my hormones were so low and so imbalanced. And I was experiencing anxiety and so many gut issues, so many digestive problems. And I was feeling like an it. And so this was kind of like before natural health was really a thing. Like it was not mainstream. Like we're going way back here, like to the 90s, late 90s. I'm dating myself now, but that's when I was a teenager. And so, it wasn't like I could just go online or I could like look up a naturopath or find a nutritionist on IG because it didn't exist.
I'm always encouraging my clients to get outside, especially during the middle of the day, to go for a walk and literally just be, if you have access to nature. That's the thing is like, if you don't have access to the outdoors,
then move somewhere where you do.
Well, that's what I did. That's what I did. I mean, I grew up in North Vancouver, so I've always had that access, but even more so now, I would say, because I was living in a more populated area in North Vancouver, but now it's all around me. But I work with a lot of clients that, they feel the effects of that. They're like, yeah, I'm walking all day, but I'm like, where are you walking? They're like, New York City.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's still great to get outside, but when you're immersing yourself in the city and the noise of it and the chaos of it, it's
frequency.
Not the same as, not the same as forest bathing. Let's just say that. So I think getting outside, the nervous system benefit is huge. Like there's so much research on this topic in terms of immersing yourself in nature, forest bathing, all of that stuff and how that impacts the nervous system in a positive way. I'm a big advocate for more it's more lower intensity exercise, whether you're riding your bike with friends or going out for a hike or anything that keeps your heart rate on the lower end. I find that we become addicted to these higher intensity workouts where our heart rate's like redlining. We're like, I remember some of the days I'd be doing these workouts, my heart rate's at like 180, 190. And I was like, oh yeah, super killer workout. But I go for a walk every single day. I have a dog, so I have no choice.
Yeah.
But we go to the trails and I realize, that's not normal for a lot of people. Like I drive my dog to the trails and we go for a 45-minute walk in nature every single day. The impact that has had on my nervous system, I don't think I've ever really given enough credit to. So I tell my clients like, hey, do you have green space or outdoor space near where you live? Go for a walk, swap your morning 4:30 a.m. Believe it or not, that's a time a lot of people work out. 4:30 a.m. workout for a daytime 45-minute walk. Watch your nervous system change.
Yeah.
Watch your mental health change. And
watch your motility change. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, say that again. You say motility?
The motility,
yes.
The motility
so
walk.
Walking is the best form of exercise for motility. And don't get me wrong, I think weightlifting is super important, especially as we age. You can still incorporate that. It doesn't need to be the only exercise you do. Spending an hour in the gym doesn't need to be the only exercise you do. You can incorporate outdoor activity, and again, going for that daily walk is like the simplest thing you can do, but you can also go hiking or what have you. Encourage yourself to get out rain or shine and expose your eyeballs to daylight, especially for your circadian rhythm. And the benefits are just, they're far beyond what you can get from the gym. And I think that, we associate exercise with this 1 hour-long block that we do
100%.
Every day, but movement in general, incorporating more movement into your day throughout your day and getting outside walking, that's going to be far more beneficial for your motility and the microbiome via the gut-brain connection and stress. Like working your butt off in the gym is going to be a form of stress on the body. It's a different kind of stress, but when you are a highly productive go type person, adding on more of that physical stress is still adding on to your total allostatic load, essentially is what it's called. So it's you're still working your body really hard, and sometimes that's not a problem for the average person. But if you're already super stressed out most of the time and you're in that sympathetic state more often than not, then that's more the problem. The starting point is always figuring out how backed up someone is. And let me be the first to tell you most women have no idea how backed up they are. Because you can be pooping every day. You can be having small bowel movements every day, several times a day even, and you may not be fully emptying your bowels, and that starts to build. And for some women, the symptoms pop up pretty quickly when that happens. And for some women, it doesn't. Meaning I've had clients who we do a transit test, which is the first step that I'm going to talk about. We do a transit test, and their transit time is 3 weeks. I kid you not, 3 weeks. And this one client that I'm thinking of, she, 3-week transit time, no symptoms, like no bloating, I should say, no gas, which is incredible. I mean, I don't know, it's not necessarily a good thing for sure, but it's crazy that that can happen. And I think a lot of women don't know, again, how backed up they are. So first step is always to do a transit test. So I literally just have my clients consume a half cup or so of corn. I usually recommend frozen organic corn. Organic corn tends to be a little bit brighter in color, depends, but or canned corn works too. Just not corn on the cob because you're going to chew it too well. And just put that on the side of your next dinner time meal. I always measure from dinner, and then you see how long that takes to see that in the toilet. And sometimes it's the next morning. That means you're not backed up and constipated. So that's the ideal transit time we're looking for, is 12 to 18 hours after consuming that at dinner time. You should see that in the toilet. You're not going to see all of those kernels. You might only see a few, and that's totally fine. But if you're seeing the first sighting of corn 36 hours later, then that's kind of that tipping point where you're experiencing constipation. Up to 24 hours later, I would not consider constipation. So meaning if you have it for dinner on Monday night and you see it on Tuesday morning and Tuesday night, it's usually the last sighting is what we'd consider your true transit time. But that last sighting on Tuesday night, you're having your bowel movement in the evening. That's totally fine, as long as you're also having one in the morning. I do recommend trying to get to a point where you have a bowel movement in the morning, just because that's when something called your gastrocolic reflex is most sensitive. This is a mechanism where your stomach stretches in response to the consumption of food or liquid. Most sensitive in the morning. So having a bowel movement in the morning is ideal. But if your first sighting is in the evening, like if you're pooping in the evening, even if it's the next day, we do want to work on bringing that back up into the morning instead.
So let's touch on manifesting generators. So manifesting generators are almost a hybrid of generators and manifestors. So similar to generators, manifesting generators also need to focus on those things that get them excited. The main difference between manifesting generators and generators is manifesting generators have this ability to just go from point A to point B in like hyper speed. A lot of times manifesting generators will, and a lot of the clients that I've worked with have called this out, where they will follow where their energy wants to go, because that's the biggest thing for a manifesting generator is your energy is always going to be pulling you to what you want to do. So your goal is to really follow that. So when you're following that energy, say if it's, I want to start this course, you may be really excited about this course in the beginning, dive right in, and then all of a sudden that energy is pulling you towards something else, and maybe you don't finish that course. A lot of manifesting generators feel this frustration of, why can't I just finish this course beginning to end? Or why can't I read this book from cover to cover? And it's really because that is okay. Your energy is calling you towards something different. You don't need to get caught up in completing things because your energy wants to move at this lightning speed. It's okay to pivot. Things need to stay exciting for a manifesting generator. So release the guilt that if there's any lingering of, I need to finish this, and just honor where your energy is calling you in the moment. For manifesting generators, your career path may not be linear. You're not meant to stick to one path or passion throughout the course of your life. If you hold on to something that could be a career for too long, you may actually start to feel you're not self-themed, which is the indicator that you're out of alignment. And for a manifesting generator, that could look like frustration or anger. And so when you get these feelings bubbling up, that might just be your energy type wanting change, wanting the freedom to pivot. So once you're able to lean into that, go with the flow. And what's interesting is because manifesting generators can move so fast that they may forget that others can't move as quickly as they can. So there might be some frustration of, oh my gosh, why can't you keep up? And this is where we get caught up though, as a whole, because 64% of us are either a manifesting generator or a generator. Speaking of projectors, then we can touch on projectors. So projectors make up 22% of the population. Projectors are our natural leaders, teachers, guides. They have this incredible ability to have this bird's eye view of things and to really understand and refine systems. Projectors can almost spot where people are really gifted and see, okay, is this person or is this company doing the things, are we leaning into our strengths, or maybe are we a little bit disconnected here? So they have this, their magic and their secret sauce is not in how hard they work. It's really in that potent perspective that they hold and those insights that they have. So if you're a projector, so Craig and Shannon are projectors. So if a projector is looking at the way that the generators are operating on your team, if they're not aware of their energy type, they may have this feeling of, I need to keep up. And then all of a sudden they feel burnt out. Well, that is because they're not living as their energy type. They're trying to match someone else's energy. And as a projector trying to match a generator, that's going to be like the fast track to burnout. Projectors have about 2 to 3 hours of really potent energy in a day. And that is meant to really be focused on whatever they want to focus that energy and attention on. The remainder of the day is really meant to kind of sit back, to reflect. This is when they're really going to be able to see everything from that bird's eye perspective. And so projectors actually need more rest than any other energy type. So just knowing that little piece, you can start to see how in a setting at work, how just those two energy types will be drastically different in the way that they operate.
I think what happens for a lot of women is they go, okay, I want to start working out. Great, you want to start working out. 99% of women that I work with are not eating enough. They're not sleeping enough. They're not hydrated enough. There's this epidemic of like chronic undereating. And yeah, so I think that again, what makes us different is that like our fitness comes from like a very fueled, nourished place. Um, and it's really important that we understand that women need fuel and nourishment. Not only do we need it, but we deserve it. And that's actually going to help foster us feeling our best and being our best up here and all that. And so that's obviously a huge part. And so when we choose whatever action it's going to be, like working out, at least what I found in my journey was it was the first domino of all the other things to support my overall health. Because, okay, if I'm going to start working out, wow, I'm going to start sleeping better. And I'm actually going to be needing more sleep because we need sleep to recover, for our muscles to grow. Like rest is almost as important as the work, as they say. Recovery is really important. So, okay, then I got to start getting to bed earlier. Okay, but then I need like, I'm really hungry because I'm working hard. And so then I need to eat. Like, so it's like this domino of when you change one thing, it's not just one thing. You start to incorporate all these other habits that support the one thing. So how do I feel my best in my workouts? Okay, well, I need to be hydrated. The days I am not hydrated, I can feel it in my, I don't want to say performance, but I can feel it in my workout quality. Same thing when I'm undernourished, if I didn't eat enough the day before or whatever it may be. Same thing when I'm underslept, which obviously being a mom of 3, I normally really love sleep and I'm a really good sleeper. But when you have kids who are, still young, it's challenging. But I will say the days that I'm extremely tired and I've been up a bunch of times with my kids, I get to the mat and I feel so much better. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dr. Rhonda Patrick, but she's an incredible doctor, female, and she talks a lot about the research and studies behind the fact of like having a vigorous workout can actually offset. I mean, I've known this through experience for years, but to have it as a clinical study and have research and data back it up is so amazing. But yeah, having a vigorous workout will actually offset all of the negative effects of sleep deprivation. The biggest difference and the biggest mindset shift around that is like, if you want to make physical change in the body, that's okay. But you also should know there's lots of different routes to get to the top of a mountain. You can do it from a calorie counting, deprived, depleted, deprived, restricted place. You can do it that way. It's not really that sustainable. There's not a lot of pleasure in that way of living. you can also do it from a nourished place, from a well place, from a healthy root. Like you can do it that way. So you don't have to pick like you can have your optimal body composition and you can do it eating 3 meals a day plus snacks. Like you can do your plate. And that I think is really important because we often look at, social media and all these fitness people and women of different ages and different seasons of life is really important to keep in mind too. And you don't know. And unfortunately, there's a lot of like eating like issues in the fitness space. Like often covered by, well, I'm fit, but like, are you well? Are you happy? Are you balanced? We live in this space where like the wellness space has almost become like Western medicine. There's a pill for every ill and there's a supplement for every, you know what I mean? And the truth of the matter is if you want to change your life, it's going to be found in your daily habits. It's not going to be found in a greens powder. That's the truth. But I will say, obviously, I do take a lot of supplements. I take them very strategically, very mindfully, and like not everyone needs every supplement. But mushrooms, I feel, are like a different level of supplement. Like you just can't deny the data and research behind them. It's so incredible. And of all the supplements I take, because I do take a handful every day, my mushrooms, like I feel always have made the most impact in my life and in my daily like feeling. And yeah, I took them through my pregnancy, took them through my postpartums. They've been so supportive to my wellness journey. And so, I mean, it helped me get off pre-workout. Like that's pretty wild. I was on like a caffeine, like jolt me stimulant pre-workout for a really long time. Like literally like probably 4 or 5 years of my fitness journey. And yeah, and being able to get off that and, not use that, it's been incredible, and so, it's like one of those things where I tried one and then I was like, "Okay, let's try another," and now I'm obsessed, and that's what it's and like, it's the truth, like, and now I'm, like, obsessed, so I often get DMs like, "Which one should I start with?" I'm like, "Just take the quiz, but, don't ask me because I'll literally tell you I take all of them," so
I hope you enjoyed this compilation episode. We were so excited to bring it to you with the best 10 minutes of some of the guests on the show. If you want to listen to the entire episode, we're going to be linking them in the show notes. So go to the show notes, look at the description, and you can click the link to listen to the entire episode. Thank you so much for being here, and we are so grateful for you. Be well, everyone.